So now we come to our meat and potatoes application called Infinity Designer. This is a vector-based application similar to Adobe Illustrator. Why vector? Vector makes sense. Vector looks good. You can blow up a vector to any size you want. What we're doing is creating a new layer. We have a sketch layer. Sketch layer is our sketch. We're going to lock it. We're going to move it up to the top, and we're going to paint on another layer. Let's call this body. Okay, we do this the body. And we are going to trace around the body with a vector pen. So that basically means that we're going to trace around it like this, and as you can see, it makes a vector. Now you can go and edit the vector. So you can move your line and all this stuff. You can change the color of your line. It's pretty cool. So all you do is press the N key for your pen, and let's make some vectors. Let's do the ear first of all. Well, I said body, and now I'm doing ear. All right, let's not do the ear. Let's do the body. It is the body layer. So let's do the body. We'll make the tail as part of the body layer. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and make the tail as part of the body layer. And do all of that stuff. And I want the foot to be part of the body layer as well. So let's go around the footsie, go up through here. And I want this leg in front to be a separate thing. So we're not doing that. So now let's go over through here and let's finish the line. So there we go. So it takes the computer a minute. So now we have our vector, and you can see our vector is right here, and that is on the body. That is on the body indeed. And again, it is a vector, so we can go and we can move the lines around if we want to, but we don't want to. So that's our body layer. Let's make a new layer. Let's call it ear. Let's call it ear, and let's draw around the ear. So let's get the N pin, and make an ear. There we go. Made a nice little ear. All right, now let's do the leg. A new layer. Let's call it leg. And I'm OCD, so that's why I'm going to all this trouble with this stuff. But yeah, there's that. There is that. So let's go with the leg. And now we have a leg layer. What are we going to do with all these layers? Well, good news, we're going to color them in. So let's reduce these layers. The body, let's go here. Now there's two pencil thing. This one is a stroke. So we can change the color of the stroke. We can make the stroke really wide. We can do all sorts of things with the stroke. We don't want to do, that much with the stroke. But if you go to the other one right here, that is the fill. That fills it in. So we want to fill it in with a bit of a, a little bit of an action there. A little bit of an action. A little brown. We got a brown color. Let's get it not looking like that. Let's get it nice and light. Nice and light brown, just like that. That looks good. It's a little yellowish. Can we get a little on the red side? And that is going to look pretty good. A little more on the red side. There we go. That's going to look pretty good. The head is going to be a different layer. Let's undo everything and go back to the N. Let's get a stroke color. That's the problem. We can't see our stroke. So we're going to have a stroke because we can't see our stroke. So now I want to go back over the head. And go like that. Okay, now we can go with the node tool and edit that. And should be good. Now we can fill it in with whatever color we want. Okay, I do want a gradient on here instead of just a solid color. A gradient is basically going to be this tool over here called the fill tool. Now the fill tool will fill it with a solid color like we have now. But if you come up here and you go radial, it comes up with a gradient. You can do a radial gradient. We can do an elliptical gradient. And that'll basically make it so that we have a sort of a gradient in here. So it's kind of nice. Let's go with a gradient. I want to go into white. So this end of the gradient is a different color than that end. We want this far end here to be white. So we have a nice white or just sort of a little bit brown. And then we want this other end to be like a darker, richer brown. Let's go with like this. And that's going to work pretty well. It's going to work pretty well. I do want to sort of curve it because the sunlight is coming from the right-hand side. So I want to curve it a little bit. We are going to sort of go in through here and make more shading. So this is not the only shading that we're going to do. And then let's go for the ear. Let's fill that in with a little bit of a lighter color. I'm going to go with like this. And again, we're going to play around with this as well, but that's going to be sufficient. Okay, now we got that. Now we need to put a darker area over here. So inside the body, I want a darker area. We're going to do that by painting inside of the body. So we're going to select the body. We're going to go up to the menu. We're going to go Layer, Insertion, Inside. Layer, Insertion, Inside. In other words, anything that I draw is going to be clipped or alpha locked to this particular layer. So if I get my pen tool and I draw something like that, and then I fill it in, it's alpha locked to the body layer, which is handy. It's exactly what we want. So we want to come in with we want to come in here and we want to get a brown color down across through here. And that's going to be a really pretty brown color. And we want to trace across here and then make it there. And there we got it. So we can edit our lines and link them there. And then we can put anything we want in here. What I do want is a gradient. I do want a gradient here. So let's go back to our gradient tool. Let's mark a gradient. And I want it to be a very rich red sort of brown. Very rich red brown there. And on one end, on the other end, I want a bit of a brown a bit of a light brown like that. Like that. I think that looks really pretty. That looks really pretty. Now, you see this tab called Effects, and it has a Gaussian blur in it. So I can literally blur that out and make it nice and smooth. Make it nice and smooth indeed. So that is going to look really kind of cool. So obviously we get our sketch layer and reduce the opacity even more. And you can sort of see where we're going with this. We got that Gaussian blur. Oops, we got the Gaussian blur on the body layer on that. That looks nice. You got a bunch of different things we can do as well over here. We can do an outer shadow. An outer shadow will give us a shadow on the outside, but we can aim it. We can aim that shadow and make it not on all sides, but only on some sides. So you can fiddle with this as well and sort of aim your shadow in any direction that you want. And it's kind of cool. So you got to get an extra effect if you want that. There's also an outer glow, which will affect all the edges, which you don't really want. There's also bevel and emboss and a bunch of these others. So I like this pretty chocolatey type thing. Now I want to come in and basically do the same thing again, but with a darker color. So now I want literally black. Oops, now I want literally black. So let's do a V tool. Let's select this layer here, which is our inner layer of the inner layer. Again, let's go Layer, Insertion, Inside. Let's grab our pencil tool. And I want to just come in here and make some good stuff. Let's go with, I keep doing that. Let's go with like a fuzzy edged sort of black. The problem here is I can't see what I'm doing. Let's get our line there. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. that helps a lot. That does help a lot. That's true. All right. So again, we're going to go inside, and we're just going to sort of make this come up over here and then down through here. and then make it just sort of fuzzy and come across through there. And it's going to be fuzzy there, and then we're going to have it be a little bit fuzzy, and then it comes over here, and then it comes up here. And then we're going to sort of come back all the way around. Okay, now that's done. Let's hit the move tool and let's fill it in. So let's go in here with our fill color. And basically I want this. I mean, basically I want that. Could I make a little Gaussian blur on it? A little bit, yeah. But it already is kind of blurred because the upper layer is blurred. So let's see, how does that look? So if we zoom out, it actually looks really good. That looks pretty good. All right. So let's get some real action in here. Let's get some of the real action in here because that's what we need. All right. So for the real action, well, we kind of need to get the tail and get this moved over into the tail a little bit. We can sort of do that. We're going to select the body. We're going to select inside, and we're just going to sort of come in through here and make that. And I want that to be the same color as it was over there. Like that. There we go. Except it needs to be inside of the tail. So let's redo this. Select the body. We want to go layer, insertion inside. We want to grab our pencil and then come around here and just make a little bit of that. And then we go like this. There we go. Looks pretty good. I like it. And obviously I want to blur that as well because I don't want the outer edge to be that prominent. Okay. So now we're coming in. We have a pretty good looking doggy so far. I think we got a little beagle. I think we're working on a beagle, my friends. We are working on a beagle. Beagle. All right. Let's change this to be a little bit more white. Okay, it's a little bit more white. All right. Now I want to come in and get some shadow on this side. Get some shadow. I want to get some shadow over here. All right. We're going to use something called a vector brush. If you're not prepared for this, be prepared for the coolest thing you've ever freaking seen in your life. A vector brush is right here. It's B. And that is basically a literal brush that is a vector, which is unheard of. But, you know, there you go. Let's make a new layer. We're going to move it up to the top, and we're going to call this layer shading. And within this layer is where all the action happens. So a vector brush basically looks like that, which it looks terrible, and you're like, what are you doing? Let's go to the actual vector brushes. Okay. So vector brush looks like that. Look how smooth and nice that is. Obviously, we need to make it more gray, but look how smooth and nice that is. Look at how smooth that is. Obviously, we're missing something. We need to select this and go again to layer, insertion, inside. Now, let's get this brush and just go like that. And look at that. Look how effective that is. We can reduce the gray a little bit more and just sort of come in here and then get like that. But, I mean, just look how smooth that is. Obviously, then we can blur it a little bit, too. We can get that radio. Oops, we need to select it. We need to select it first and then blur it. But we can blur it, too. Look at that nice blur. How pretty that is. And you can come back in and make another one down here. So a little bit more shading there. And then again, we're just going to select it and then blur that a little bit. Oops. Select it and blur that a little bit. So you can do all sorts of stuff with this. Really cool. And we can do let's play with outer shadow. Outer shadow would be kind of interesting. So you can make a shadow within the blur. And then you can make the radius of it. You can offset it a little bit. You can move the angle of the shadow. So the shadow only appears on one side, for example. We can increase the opacity. And overall, we have this nice effect on that. Get a little more radius on there. Okay, it looks pretty good. So there we go. So there you have the beginnings of our beagle. And again, it looks pretty sharp. Obviously, we're missing a lot of things here. We're missing the textures and all of that stuff, but we'll add that in a minute. There's no hurry. No hurry at all. We're just sort of relaxing at this point. You know what I mean? Relaxing and chilling out. Okay, let's get the brush. Let's have some more fun. Let's select the body and select inside and then get the brush. And I want a little bit of that shadow. Oops. I want a little bit of that shadow over here. There we go. Well, a little bit of that shadow over here. Like that. Ooh, look at that. Look how real that looks. Look how cool that looks. And then a little bit of that like that. I like it. I like it a lot. We can reduce the size a little bit. And we can reduce the size and get pretty realistic in here. Just sort of go like that. Well, that doesn't look good. Sort of go like this. Like that. Get a little bit of the, bring down that opacity of that brush. Stroke the width a little bit. The pressure, okay. And you can also diddle with this. Instead of normal, we can do multiply. So you can have like that. Look at that. Look how cool that is. Look how realistic that looks. So we can go back here and choose multiply. We can do color burn. We can do all of this other stuff. It looks really good. So let's go back and to the brush and just do a little more brushing, basically. I want to get this, and I want to go like right through here, a little bit like there. That looks really good. And then put a little shading under the ear, too. Looks pretty good. I like it. Need a little more shading under the ear, like about like that. And blur it out a little bit under that ear. It's a bit much. You know, kind of the same thing here. A little bit of a blur, and I think it's going to be all right. Okay, then we need a little more shading underneath that ear. As we come across there, that's a bit much. And there we go. Blur that a little bit. And coming back in here. So overall, it's looking pretty good so far. Now we need some blur, now we need some shading over here. Let's get some shading. Let's bring up the opacity of this brush a little bit. And let's get some shading across there. But we need to do this, select inside, and then go for that. All right, insertion inside. And get a little bit of that action there. You know, we could increase the opacity a little bit. Increase the width and bump that down a little bit. So let's go like that. Look at that nice shade there. And then go here and do a little more as we go there. And then we can come across on this and do a little more there. All right. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. A little more action across there. I did have a keystroke, and then it crashed. So you got to select the body, layer, insertion, inside. Okay, and then we have a little bit of a shading across there. All right. Anything else? I do need a little more shading underneath here. I do want to make it pretty harsh. And just lightly press across through there. Yeah, there we go. Lightly press across through there. That's going to be a little harsher just because it's around that leg. So let's go around here again. Because it's underneath that leg. Looks pretty good indeed. All right. And then on the bottom leg, we need to do some stuff with that too. Let's go ahead and knock the bottom leg out. Let's go to layers. Let's reduce these layers that we got. So we got body, we got layer 1, that is the head. And all right, let us continue. So mentally insane, you can come here and adjust your preferences. So you go to Affinity Designer Preferences. And you want to go to keyboard shortcuts, which is like, okay, you come in here, here's the original screen, keyboard shortcuts. Now you want to go to the layer, and then you want to scroll down until you see layer insertion inside. And I just set it to F1. You can set it to whatever you want. And, then you hit close. And you can save and load these, etc. So now when I select the body and click F1 and then click in and draw something, it automatically goes inside. So that's basically going to be what you want to do so you don't go just batty, at some point. Okay. And again, we're going to use textures and all sorts of stuff, cool stuff here in a few minutes. But for right now, let us continue on and with our shading process. So I want to select the leg, which is here. And I have the leg selected. And I want to put some shading on that. So let's go with B for our vector brush. Select F1, our fancy new shortcut. And I want to come across in here and put it in and put some shading. It's a bit rough. We need a little bit of lighter color there to do this. And overall, that looks pretty good. I like it. I like it. It doesn't need to be all the way over there. I'm a Virgo, so I apologize in advance, but you sort of just have it like that. And there we go. Put a little bit more emphasis on the bottom part there. There we go. And that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good indeed. We never did really fill this in with a color, did we? That's why it doesn't look as good. So let's fill this in with a color and make it a little bit of a white there, a little bit off-white. Okay, there we go. Overall, I think we are looking pretty good. It does need some transparency. We do need to snip out a portion of it. So how do we do that? We want to snip out a portion of this. There's an easy way to do this. You basically want to draw around the portion that you want to snip out. And then you want to select the leg and the portion that you want to snip out, and then come up here. Move to back one, forward one, print, all this other stuff. Over here, there's add, subtract. So you click subtract. And that subtract will subtract the portion that you drew from, or it will subtract the portion of the leg from the portion that you drew. Basically, it'll take a bite out of the leg. So now we have it where we want it. That looks pretty freaking good, and I like it. We can get that and sort of move it out a little bit. It is a vector, so we can sort of play with it. And I would blur it a little bit, just like that, a little bit like that. And then obviously, since we subtracted it, we weren't exact, so we kind of need to move it a little bit. Let's get the move tool, and let's scooch it down a centimeter scooch it down a centimeter more. There we go. All right, I think we are okay now. So if we zoom out, that looks like a pretty good dog so far. I like it. I like it a lot. So let's get some shading down on this leg as well. I would not mind going into the vector tool and sort of bringing this shading down a little more. Bringing it down kind of here and then sort of just bringing that area there. And yeah, that looks good. So I'm pretty happy with what we got. What is next? We can do the ear next. We can do some shading in the ear. So now we're going to do vector brush. We're going to press F1 for our fancy new shortcut. And now we're going to get some browns. I want like a deep dark brown. And let's sort of do that across through there. Like that. And then maybe have another brown that sort of comes in through there. Ooh, that looks terrible. Let's have something a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, and blur it. And like that. I think that looks pretty good. And then we need a deep, dark, very, very dark brown for like the inner ear section over here. So let's get the inner ear. And let's do like that. That's going to be some inner ear. I don't want to blur that at all. That looks really good. And now I want to get like a pinkish red, a little bit of a pinkish red. Ooh, that'd be cool. A little bit of a pinkish red. We want to really jack down the opacity on this. Let's see. Come on, give me a break. Okay, F1 vector brush. I want to jack down the opacity by a lot. we're really gonna, this is really gonna be sort of an iffy proposition, but I think it's gonna work. I want to jack down the size a little bit and just sort of go in here and, yeah, not like that. Go like around there and then give that a nice blur. Give that a nice blur. And that looks terrible. But you know where I'm going with this. You know kind of where I'm going with this. Okay, let's go here and out. And then like that. Or let's go here and out and then like that. And then let's give that a blur. See how that's going to look. That's all right. That's all right. I mean, we could really sort of tweak the stroke color, ease it up a little bit. A little more toward, I mean, we still want to be in the brown. We wouldn't be on the reddish brown. But, yeah, like that. I think that looks all right. And then we can come back in and select the ear again. And then come back in with a, oops. I can select it, paint inside, B for brush, and then let's draw some cute little lines. Let's literally draw some little lines at this point. Get some brown, draw some detailed lines. Let's just zoom in and like draw, you know, little detailed lines here and there. They're going to be much smaller than that. Just little detailed lines here and there. Little lines coming out of here. And some lines over there. You know, a little line here and there. And a little bit more as sort of the veins coming through here and whatnot. And the veins through here and then there. So let's come out a little bit, and that looks pretty good. Obviously, it's going to be this size in the card, so all of this is kind of useless, but I'm a useless kind of guy. All right, B again, and come up a little bit more and do a little shading in there. Okay. Overall, I think that looks pretty good. We need some white. We need to bump up this and have like a light section up there. But that looks terrible. We need some white. And then we're going to bump up this section up here with some highlights. And obviously, you know, blur that out a little bit. That's a bit much. But overall, I think that we are looking pretty good for just a vector dog. I think it looks pretty good for a vector dog. Okay, ear's done. Ear is done. Pretty happy with this. I guess we could stretch out the white a little bit. Sort of stretch it out. Get that white stroke. Oops. Get that white stroke and stretch it out a little bit. Like that. Reduce the blur a little bit. And there we go. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's do the eyes and the nose and all this other stuff. Let's get the nose. The nose is just going to be, we're just going to go select the head. We're going to do a select inside. We're going to do in for the brush. And then we're going to make a little roundabout and we're going to make it black. And we're going to make it feel black as well. Okay, that's pretty much the nose. Now let's get let's go the brush and let's get a white brush. And let's sort of come across and get some highlight up here. So we got a nice highlight there. And we also need some darkness, a little bit of a darkness on the top here. So let's grab that and let's sort of come around here and then through there and up and around as well. Get a nice darkness. That needs to be tweaked, though. I think the color needs to be a bit more on on this side. A bit more like this. Actually, I changed my mind. Executive decision. Let's go ahead and just make a whole section for this. So I want a section like this. One section that comes across over here and it comes down. All right. And I want that to be, I want that color to be that. So obviously we messed something up. Select inside, and then that. That's what we want. Okay. Press select it. Press B or press N, and then do select inside. And now again, we want this to be just an overarching around there. Let's go to the fill color, and let's fill it in with a pretty, like a pretty brown like that. And then obviously we need to really blur that. But that looks pretty good. So we got a nice shading on that. We can do the same sort of thing over here. We need to sort of get this up here and come around there and make that and do a fill there as well. It's going to be a little darker, and then get a blur on that too. So overall, we got it looking pretty good. Now we sort of killed the nose. We got the nose and we killed it. Now the nose is right here. We need to move the nose and the layers up to there. So it is above everything else. And well, I guess we need to move it a little more even up. So what is happening here? What is happening with the nose? We need to move the nose. We need to move the nose above that thing. Okay, there we go. All right, so we need to move the nose above that layer. Zoom out, and I think it is looking pretty good so far. It needs a little texture, but that's okay. Now we need some eyes, and let's make some comic eyes. Let's do the traditional comic eyes. We're going to come over here to shapes, and we're going to choose a circle. So let's get a circle for the eyes. Let's make a nice big eye. It is a fun doggy. Let's make a fun eye. We got an eye. Okay, we need it to be white. So we got that, and we can, how big do we want this? How big does the eye look good? That looks okay. We can make it a little bigger because it is a comic, you know, sort of a comic fun thing. There we go, that's cute. Okay, now, from here, if you hold down Option and you drag it, you'll duplicate that object, which is what we want to do. Because we want a pretty blue eye. I want the donkey to have a pretty blue eye. Not like that. Jesus, not like that. Have a pretty blue eye. But I want it to be gradient. Let's come over here to the fill tool. Let's drag it and make a gradient. So we have a gradient of a pretty blue eye. And we'll just do that. Press V for the move tool. And we need to reduce the size of this down a little bit. We can hold down Shift, and we have that there. Now, we're going to grab, again, hold down Option and drag. Now, let's do black. And that black is going to be the, what is it called? The iris, right? Is it the pupil? No, we got the iris and the pupil. Okay. Now, grab that, hold down Option or Alt, and make that white. And that is going to be our reflection. That is going to be our reflection in the eye. And we want to remove the stroke entirely from that. All right. So now we have the reflection. Let's zoom in a bit. We have the reflection of the eye. We want to get rid of these outlines on this stuff because it looks terrible. And pretty good. Okay, now on this one, let's make an outer glow. So we have an outer glow right here. And I want the color to be white. And I'm going to increase the radius until it glows. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. That's very cool. Now, I'm going to select it, hold down Option or Alt again, move it a little bit, and then we're going to put, you know, a little bit right there. A little bit right there. And so there is our eye. It looks pretty nice. It looks pretty nice indeed. I like it. So now let's put these in a group in case we need to resize the eye or something. Let's put all these in a group. To do that, you're going to select, hold down Shift, and select, or sorry, hold down Command or, is it Command? Yeah. Sorry, you're going to hold down Shift. You're going to hold down something. We're going to select all of these layers, and then we're going to press Control G. And that puts it in a group. We missed the highlights. Put the highlights in the group too. Highlights, I, Control G. Okay, now we got it in a group. All right, so now we can move it around. We can resize it. We can do whatever we want with this eye. We can make it real. You know, they're really happy. They're really excited about something. You know what I mean? So we can just do that. So now we're going to reduce the eye until it looks a bit better. And put that. And then we need an eyebrow. Let's make an eyebrow for the eyeball. We're going to do that. We are going to get the N tool, which is the pen tool or the pencil tool. And we're going to make a stroke. You can't see the stroke because if you look up here, our stroke color is blank. So we need to not select that eyeball. Okay, we need a stroke color that's not going to be blank. Let's find out what we want. I want it kind of a dark. Obviously, it's going to be dark. And there we go. Look at that. You see how it's thicker in the middle? How you do make it thicker in the middle is you go to stroke, pressure. And so in the middle, it's thicker, right? In the middle, it's thinner. In the middle, it's thicker. At the end, it's thicker, and in the middle, it's thicker. So you got to adjust that. So there's your pressure. All right, now I want the width to be a little bit more, and we're going to go for it and try it out like that. And so there's our eyebrow. See how that looks? That looks pretty interesting. We got a lot of things that we're missing. Of course, we need some other stuff in there, like a mouth. A mouth would be great. So let's do a mouth as well. Let's get here. Let's go across here, and let's make a mouth as we sort of come up there. There we go. And we can sort of tweak this a little bit. Tweak that a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do here. Again, okay, let's move this a little bit up and reduce the size. And twist it. And there we go. Doesn't look great, but it looks okay. So overall, I think it looks kind of cute. We need a bunch of stuff around the eye. So we'll work on that next. But for now, let's get some shadow underneath this ear. All right, do this. Brush, select inside. We want a really, really dark color. Let's go to colors and let's go to dark. And I want some shadow behind this ear like that. We can also do the same thing here and get a little bit of a darker shadow here as well, just here like that. And that's going to look pretty good. We can get it, we can move it a little bit like that. Okay, I think that's going to be okay. All right. And there we go. Looking pretty decent so far. We need to tweak it, but overall it doesn't look half bad. Doesn't look half bad at all. Now this is just a cartoon, so this is going to be massive overkill, but I wanted to show you just how cool Affinity Designer is. By the way, I'm not sponsored. I just love the freaking program. Okay, let's show you how cool this is. I put on some paws, as you can see, kind of Walmart paws, but you know, that's all I can do. That's the best I can do. Let's fix it. Let's select it. Paint inside. Let's go under there. Let's select it. Paint inside. Let's go a little on the front there. You know, there we go. A little better on the paws. A little bit better on the paws. Okay. So let me show you just how cool this is. We're in designer persona right now, right? I can come in here to the smudge brush and I can just start smudging stuff around. I can reduce the opacity a little bit. I can just start smudging this around a little bit. Look at this. So I can put in some like, you know, where it doesn't look so bad. Basically, it looks real, kind of like that, right? You can come up here. I need to select this layer, but you can come up here, and again, what is a smudge brush? That is, there's no keystroke. There's no shortcut to that. That's fantastic. That's really good. And I can start just smudging this around. Like I can move this here, and I can make this a little bit more to there. And I just fiddle with that. This is retarded. This is sick. This is sick, man. This is just perverse. It is so cool. And check this out. Because I'm now in a Photoshop type thing, I can click B for brush, and I can select a texture brush. Right here, I have a texturizer brush. Let's choose a ink water, spray dots, grass, graphite dirt, wet paper. Let's do graphite dirt. And let's come in here and let's reduce the brush size really slow. Holy crap, that's slow. And let's get a nice deep color. Let's get a deep, deep brown in here. And then I can just come in and put like texture on the bottom. Look at that. Look, that's sick. That's sick. Come over here and increase the opacity. Then put a little texture in there. So you can get whatever texture you want. You can put it in here on the dog. A little bit of texture on there. A little bit of texture down here. I need some of that. So, I mean, look at this. This is sick. Oh, well, okay. I need to select that layer. Okay, this is sick. Look at this. Use a little texture on there. Obviously, I need to paint inside. Does this work? Does paint inside work on here? It does it? It does. Look at that. That's just twisted. That's legitimately, that's just twisted. So you can just go over here. You can get a really dark brush. Let's get another pattern, and you can just paint it in here. So now I have texture on the, look, my watch, I'm so excited. My watch is congratulating on me finishing my exercise for today. Look at that. Look, you just put in the texture. So now you have like this realistic looking dog. And let's grab this color here. Let's deepen it a little bit. And let's do a little texture across through here. Like that. A little texture down through there. Look at that. That is so cool. That is just twisted. That is just twisted, man. Look at that. Anyway, that's so now you're in like a sort of a Photoshop type thing. That is just amazing. I just love this program, man. It's really pretty good. Obviously, you know, I'm just stricken by it. I'm in love with it. But, you know, I think that the reason why is because it's so cheap. I have been paying Photoshop for so many years, like $15 a month for their photography plan. You know what I mean? And it's been nice to use it. But if I ever don't use it for a couple of months, I don't get those months back. You know what I mean? They don't give me a refund on those months. Anyway, but this has got like grass and stuff. This thing has grass in it too. You can get grass. You can make a grass creature. I swear to God. Look, watch this. You can make like if you want a kiwi. Watch this. Oh wait. Well, and I have paint inside. You can make like a kiwi. You can make a little kiwi monster with this thing. Look. Look at that. Then you put eyes on it, and you can make a little kiwi monster. Look at how cute that is. Anyway, it has grass, and it has fur and all that stuff. So that is fur. Okay, so here is the fur. Let's see. Oh, we don't need to be in green. We need to be over here. So now we can get this fur, and we can just sort of play around with the fur a little bit. Reduce the fur size, and obviously select the body. Paint inside. Let's get back on the brush and do a little bit of fur. Actually get some fur stuff going on. It needs to be a little bigger. But yeah, isn't that cool? That is pretty interesting. Indeed. So you just do like that. Now we have some fur. And, you know, it's kind of Walmart, but that's okay. It's all good. Kind of Walmart, but it's all good. We're just playing around. But there you go. There is your dog, and that looks kind of weird now that we don't have the texture up in the butt and all this other stuff. All right, I mean, that's okay. We need a little black. We're going to go OCD now. Need a little black, and then get a little fur across through here, and then get some fur action down through here, like that. A little bit of that texture, and overall it looks pretty good. And that is our dog. I hope you have enjoyed this, because I certainly have. You know, let's put this all together in the next video.